For today's lesson, we're going to interpret and use function notation. During your lesson preview, you're going to practice making a table of values. Once you have your table of values, be certain to graph those points. Now, since you got to choose those table of values, your graph should be continuous. Afterwards, make a mapping for your table of values. For each one of your x's, check to see that you have only one y. Once that's completed, we're going to start working with some new notation. So equations often use function notation. We might call y equal f of x, y equal g of x, or y equals h of x. The reason we do that is so that we can use many different functions at one time. X is the input of your function, and it's called the domain. The f of x is your y value. This is your output or the range of your function. When you write ordered pairs, you always put your x first and then your y. With our new notation, we still put x first, but afterwards we fill in the f of x value. So we're going to write ordered pairs using this function notation. For example 1, think of f of x equals 3x plus 2 as a pattern. We're to find f of x, so that's your y value, when x is equal to 7. Another name for this is f of 7. Look at your function. We have f. We're replacing the value x with the number 7. In this problem, that will equal your 3. Now remember, we're replacing x's with the number 7. So we'll have 3 times 7 plus 2. We simplify our expression the way we have usually with our order of operations. We'll get 23. So f of 7 is equal to 23. Again, the 7 is your x value from your domain. The 23 is your y value. So when we write an ordered pair, we're going to read it as 7, 23. For question B, we're going to determine f of negative 4. So again, we're going to let x equal a new number. In this case, x is negative 4. Follow your pattern. F parenthesis. Replace that x value with your negative 4. That's going to equal, keep your pattern. Here's your 3. Replace the x with negative 4. And then we have plus 2. So the domain goes into the function, and the range is your output for the function. In this case, we're going to write f of negative 4 is equal to negative 10. Once again, negative 4 is your x value. Negative 10 is considered your y value. If we write it as an ordered pair, negative 4, negative 10. For example 2, and we have a different pattern, therefore it has a different name. This pattern is function h. We're going to find h of r when r is equal to 600. Another way to write it is h of 600. So the 600, again, not an x this time, it's an r value. So h of, replace all the r's with a 600, equals, we have our 1/3, replacing the r again with the number 600, and then we'll have our plus 2. So we have 202. To write the ordered pair, we know that h of 600 is equal to 202. This time, 600 is your r value, and you could consider 202 a y value if you needed to. You would write 600, 202. To determine h of negative 12, we're going to write h of negative 12. Notice your pattern. We're replacing the r value again. We will have 1/3, parenthesis, we'll replace with the negative 12 plus 2, and that gives us negative 2 once you simplify. So h of negative 12 equals negative 2. If you write an ordered pair, negative 12, comma, negative 2. For example 3, we have a new function. It's g of x. So we're going to replace the x value with the number 3. G of negative 3 equals your 2 times negative 3 minus 1, and we will have negative 7. If we determine g at 1 and g at 0, g at 1 is going to be equal to 2 times 1 minus 1, which is 1. G at 0 is going to be equal to 2 times 0 minus 1, or negative 1. Functions do not all have to be linear. Here we have a square root function. F of x is the name of the function, and I want to know f of x when x is 25, or find me f of 25. Replace all x's with the number 25. The square root of 25 is 5, so we have 10. F of 25 equals 10. When we determine f of 121 and f of 4, f of 121 will equal 2 times the square root of 121. That gives you 22. And f of 4 is 2 times the square root of 4, or 4. Work on problems 1 to 4. Afterwards, we'll talk about some of the different features of these problems. Question 2. This problem has an absolute value. So we still follow the same process. We're going to take our negative 2, substitute it in for the x value, make certain that you follow that order of operations. The absolute value of negative 2 is equal to positive 2. Follow through with that order of operations for each one of your problems. Question 3 is a reminder of how to work with fractions. The x value for our first part is negative 6. That's going to be replaced. Once we replace that negative 6, then you simplify and have your answer. Once you have an answer, notice you can list your x value is negative 6. Your g of x value is going to be 0. Plot all the points that you get. Now, since you were told which points to pick, this is a discrete graph. For example 5, your input is going to be your independent variable. So there's some new vocabulary. Your output, your y value, is your dependent variable. So independent, once again, is dealing with your domain, and dependent will be your range. A math tutor charges $60 per hour. Write an equation in function notation to determine the cost for the tutor. So we're going to use function notation. Your cost for your tutor is going to be equal to, now they get paid $60 per hour, so 60x. Now in this problem, x represents hours. Once again, that word per. Which variable is independent? That is your x variable, and x represents hours. Which variable depends? Well, the cost is your dependent variable, and your cost was equal to C. For question 6, a fitness center charges a $110 initiation fee plus $40 per month. Write an equation in function notation for the cost. So the cost of your fitness center, leave a little space, it's going to be equal to, you have to pay a $100 fee plus $40 per month. So that per month is going to be multiplication. I'm going to let x equal month in this problem. So x is month. And since I'm using the variable x, we're going to write C of x. That's function notation. The independent variable in this problem is x. So x represents month. And the cost depends on the number of months. So cost, which is your C, is going to be your dependent variable. Give questions on this page a try. Afterwards, we'll have a small discussion. Number 6 has been set up for you just to help you out with that problem. Number 7, let's look at that one. You're to write your function to describe the situations. Maybe you wrote your cost was equal to $15 each, so 15x, where x is equal to a DVD. Now, you're given 1, 2, or 3, and you can't buy half of a DVD. So when you graph your function, make certain that it is discrete. Looking at number 10. Imagine you have your x values and your y values. Notice your y values are increasing by multiples of 3. So y would equal 3x, but since it says to write a function, we're going to write f of x equals 3x.